All right, it's Dave and Bill. We're going to talk about how we break this practice session down so the kids have an opportunity to catch their breath, obviously hydrate, obviously have some downtime so that they have a time to build back up. So I want Bill to talk a little bit about how he integrates his break time or this period of rest, if you will, so his players come back in fresh for each drill or the next section of practice. So Bill, take it away from there, if you would.
Well, I think we have to acknowledge first that the way Dave does it, there's that built-in break time. I like that approach. And yet, in the continuing theme of the contrast between Bill and Dave, it's good for you to see this so that you can decide maybe you'll be somewhere in between. But if you have a 2-hour practice, you need to have at least one full 5-minute break in the middle of that. So the kids can, like Dave said, let down. They're not active. We will take our full 5-minute break as a team because that also creates a social time. They can engage in a conversation. I don't have to try to shut them down from talking during practice because I can redirect them towards, hey, break time's coming up. So just save your conversation for that time. If you have a 3-hour practice, I would say minimum you want 2 5 minutes. For me, I am almost always doing a 2-hour practice. And if the weather's particularly hot, then I'll make sure that we definitely have 2 5-minute breaks within our 2 hours or maybe more if they need to. And I generally would say, if you have a shady spot that they can get into on a hot day, get them in the shade. Another thing too that you can do in between activities is you can have a 1-minute water break. Just go and get your water really quick, get a good sip, just stop for a minute, put it on a timer, and then go, all right, 15 seconds, 10 seconds, 5 seconds. Okay, go on to the next thing. Building those in. One of my little things is, I think I referred to this earlier, if they're particularly having an amazing time of bonding, I don't want to subvert that. People who don't normally talk to each other, talking, or particularly really boisterous, fun conversation happening, I will make a decision to extend it by 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Sometimes I've actually let them have a full 10-minute break. And then as it's getting close, I go, break time's almost over. And when they come back, I say, hey, look, did you notice that I let you have more time? And they're kind of like, yeah. And they're kind of like, what's wrong with you, coach? And I go, well, now here's the reason. The reason is because I saw that you just seemed to really be having a good time, and I didn't want to get in the way with that. But I didn't give you a license right now to extend our 5-minute breaks longer every time. That was a special time. So let's get right back to work, everybody.
Our practices sort of break up and create that because after our drill session here, you got two things going. One, usually in a drill like this, we have one player resting, one player feeding. So the feeding position oftentimes is sort of that down period as well. It's used differently. Obviously, you're not as a group or a team, which I really like. And we break this after our drill session. We bring everybody to the bleachers and we have that sort of downtime. They're getting their water. They've got their water bottles with them, sitting, focusing on, okay, now we're going to be doing this for the rest of practice or whatever you have in mind. So there's critical parts of a good team to make sure you bring everybody back together. I like before practice. I like at about the middle of practice, like I said, after the drills and the challenges. Now we're going into our live ball game situation or doubles play or whatever we're working on. And then at the end of practice, we bring everybody together again. Nobody can leave practice early. Nobody can come to practice late. We have a built-in program that if you're late twice, you're no longer on this team. It's not oh, are you okay? I mean, if they have an excuse, that's one thing. Teacher, had to keep them in, do a test or whatever. They have to let me know ahead of time so that the players know. And then at the end of practice, nobody can leave early at all. And so we do our team circle at the end of practice as well. And we usually do a couple things as a team. But back to the rest period, critical to hydrate. Our temperatures in St. George, Utah during drill season, 105 degrees. Our average air temperature on the court is probably 110 to 115. So we have to be very cognizant of our players. It's so fun to have teams come to our school who are from up north or a cool climate and have to deal with us because we're so acclimated to it. It's nothing. But you still have to have the health consciousness of keeping your players hydrated before they get thirsty that's a little too late.
So in the next one, we're going to talk about how to structure your match time, your practice competition match time. We'll see you in the next one.